Third party.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. In the last few days, my colleague and I have repeatedly asked the Minister of Forests about when she will fulfil her promise to implement the recommendations of the Old Growth Panel and provide immediate protections to the most endangered old growth left in our province. The responses have been recycled talking points and lumping in stubby subalpine trees in her numbers when she knows that what we're asking about, what the Old Growth Panel is referring to, what British Columbians think of as old growth, are the ancient temperate forests with big trees. It's not a game, it's not theatre. It's about whether this government takes seriously its responsibility to protect these astonishingly rare and disappearing forests. Today, my question is to the Premier. During the election campaign, he committed to implementing all of the recommendations of the Old Growth Review Panel, beginning with immediate deferrals to stop the bleed as they work on a broader shift. Will the Premier today acknowledge that his government has not yet implemented the panel's recommendation to provide immediate interim protections for our highest risk ancient forests? And will he direct his minister to urgently fulfill this commitment?
Minister of Forest, Land, Natural Resource Operations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for the question. And we know that BC's forests are a big part of what makes our province so unique and special. Our government knows that old growth trees are an integral part of healthy ecosystems, and we take that very seriously. For many years, the old government took an unbalanced and unsustainable approach to managing our old growth forests, and we are making different choices. Our government is bringing in a fundamental shift in forestry to protect and preserve old growth trees for today and for years to come. And we will do this while supporting forest workers and forest-dependent communities. We received advice and clear recommendations from the independent panel on how we can do this, and we are dedicated to implementing all 14 of the recommendations, and this work has already started. And as a first step, we worked with First Nations to protect old growth forests in 9 areas considered high-risk ecosystems across BC, just as the report asked us to do. There is much more work to do, and we will do it.
Leader of Third Party and Supplemental.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and it is disappointing to hear the Minister refer to the old government when this is indeed their second term of government, and many choices have been made in the last 4 years. It's clear you can't change a paradigm overnight, but right now the opposite is happening, Honourable Speaker. Deferrals don't mean permanent protection. They're a tool to maintain options in a time of crisis. Talk and maintain options rather than talk and log. The big tree old growth that was logged last week won't be available for consultation and informed decision-making, nor will the big tree old growth that is logged this week or next week. The Old Growth Panel recommendations are embedded in a 3-year framework with 6-month steps, starting with immediate action for at-risk forests. We have missed the first deadline, Honourable Speaker, and to date, the BC government has not tied its implementation promise to a work plan with milestone dates. Without such a step, the BC government remains unaccountable for meeting future deadlines. My question again is to the Premier. Will he direct his minister to release a public work plan with milestone dates for implementation so that the public can have faith and take him at his word?
Minister of Forests, Lands and Natural Resource Operations.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's really disappointing to hear the member mischaracterize the independent panel's report. There is no deadlines. The independent panel was clear. Making a paradigm shift in how we manage old forests will take time and collaboration with all partners. And I'll note for members that Gary Merkel, one of the report's authors, recently said he doesn't question our government's commitment to implementing his recommendations, and he knows the process will take years. And we have protected old growth trees across BC, over 900 hectares in Crystalline Creek. And this area has an intact watershed with wetland and old and mature forests, and over 1,800 hectares in McKelvey Creek, and old growth temperate rainforest and watersheds home to wildlife and salmon habitat, and over 2,700 hectares in Seven Sisters. And this ecosystem has many different types of trees and wildlife. And we have deferred logging as part of our caribou conservation work, protection for spotted owls, and in protecting the marble murrelet and northern goshawk recovery plans. We have done work, we have done much, and we will keep working hard to protect BC's iconic old growth forests.